Hi, everyone. This is Jessica Mashkovich, and I'm here with my guest today, Vanessa, owner of Bella Media and editor-in-chief at Bella Magazine.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to talk to you today.
Yes. And Bella Magazine is a lifestyle magazine of beauty, makeup, philanthropy, culture, celebrities, travel, food,
Yes.
mind, body, and
Pretty much everything.
everything.
And we just integrated home and tech, so which is a really cool new feature that just allows for people to find out about new and innovative products that can just integrate to their homes and make their
Lives
homes
easier.
actually are easier. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really cool.
that's always a big thing.
Yeah.
So you are coming at me, or we are chatting together from both of our home offices, which is pretty
Yes.
typical of the times. If
Yes.
anybody is unaware, we're currently still going through our pandemic here.
Yes.
And so your magazine, being that the publishing industry has evolved and changed completely over the last couple of decades, or at least the last decade itself.
Mm-hmm.
People have gone from print to lots of different types of media, hence probably the name Bella Media instead of
Mm-hmm.
just the one Bella
Magazine.
Magazine,
Yeah.
assuming that it umbrellas a lot of different ways to talk to people nowadays.
100%. Yeah. And I think that we are on our way to covering like all those bases. I mean, we've obviously, our initial approach was print, and then we progressed into digital. And, then we had Bella TV, then we had, the social media arm and lives. And we've kind of adapted to the times. And obviously now podcasting is a huge part of just the online world. And we launched our podcast at the beginning of the year, and it's doing incredibly well. And yeah, so we are
How do you
covering.
decide between which venue you're going to pursue? Because you do have the print, the podcast, the TV, um, the probably, whether it's on Twitter, the TikToks, the this, the
Yeah.
that, where it's instead of
Well,
long
you
form
have to
articles or
be.
snippets.
Yeah, you have to be where your people are. So I, before all of this media business started, I used to be a teacher, and I studied psychology. And one of the things that I think attracted me to marketing in general was human behavior. I love to understand why people did the things that they did. And you are a great marketer if you understand that's the process. You have to understand why people buy, why people react to the way that they do to certain things, and how they respond. So as a media company, it's important that we are aware of all of those things, because otherwise we would just be producing content for ourselves rather than for other people, which is who we serve. So understanding that, and understanding we didn't start one thing without it being requested by our readers, and
Mm-hmm.
it just became obviously when the time came to really push forward with the TV aspect, we did that. And with podcasts, especially now during this moment in time, it has become a form of solace and entertainment and engagement with people, because what else are people really spending their time doing? It's
Right.
either reading, listening to podcasts, a
And you
lot
bring
of,
up an interesting point, because the printed magazine probably has a different sort of demographic, we'll call it, as opposed to the podcast listeners and
yes,
the YouTube or Bella TV watchers.
yes.
Again,
And for the most part, one of the things that I have personally made it a point to just do, even from before I took ownership of the magazine, was to really make sure that we're servicing our core demographic, which is a 25 to 45 demo, women, highly educated. So you have to know who you're serving.
right.
And as time has progressed, you realize that people have begun to get on the ball with all of these other outlets that are out there. And you won't see us on Snapchat, because our people are not on Snapchat. So there may
Okay.
be many other
Okay.
publications on Snapchat, but our reader is not on Snapchat. Our reader's on Facebook. So one of the things that we complement our print efforts with are with Facebook, because that's our demo. Those are the people who buy our magazine, who buy the publication, and that's how we need to reach them. Of course, there's other, it's like what falls out of the umbrella. You have Instagram, which is our second platform that we are very engaged in, but YouTube, not so much.
Not so much. So how does the Venn diagram look? Like your people who are the subscribers to the magazine versus the people that are on Facebook. What sort of overlap does that have in terms of?
It's I have to say it's very it's one dictates the other, because we don't release anything that's not in print. We will milk that print content until it's time to release it digitally. Like, for example, we just released and I have it right here, our beauty issue. There's a longevity of this content that we need to make sure that we give it the right amount of time for it to really just do there's so much invested in this one issue. How do you get the most bang for your buck with this issue? So
what you're saying is that there was so much time and so much thoughtfulness put into that content that you want to make sure that it appears,
that it and that it reaches everywhere, especially this issue, because it honors our frontline and essential workers who are every day putting their lives on the line for us. We decided to go a route of highlighting your everyday heroes. So how do we make sure that all of our readers and everybody knows who these people are? You won't find any of the print content digitally unless we're promoting the issue itself, until a month that the magazine has actually been out in print.
Okay, so you'll market the print copy first aggressively.
And you'll see maybe a picture that's included in a feature, but you'll never see the full article, neither on our social media, or you won't see it anywhere else. You'll see it always pushing the print issue so that you're able to get that first, and then you're able to get the digital when it comes out a month later. Because then after that month, we're getting ready for our next issue. So there is a rhyme and a reason for that, and there's a process. And the thing is, again, I was talking to you before about human behavior and how people react and interact. The person who still goes into a bookstore, it's a very particular and specific, it's like a niche market, right? And those are the people who I'm still catering to. It's the people who actually like to sit, and go and flip through a publication. It's also why we're not, magazines are not for everyone. And especially during this time where, we talked briefly about how the publication world has changed. It isn't for everyone, but it's not to say that it still doesn't have its place. Print is not dead. People want, when I was considering taking over this business and going into it, people thought that I was crazy. And I said, there are millions of people just like me who love to read a magazine. I'm not the only person who likes to sit and read a publication.
Right. And it sounds like you're not standing there, singing that song. Only your hands are in many different pots, or I don't even know if that's the phrase, just to make sure that you are covering with a broad stroke all of the other ways that people want to consume information, which is great. Yes. So when you do end up a month later launching the content that you've put together in the physical, tangible magazine, is that content, rephrased or?
No, you'll be able to find exactly, and we really only pull we only pull for the website our main stories. It's not like we're publishing the entire issue regardless. We only publish our main stories. And when we have like a really hot celebrity on the cover, what will happen is then we'll push you to still go purchase that publication, that one issue, still go buy that, because it means that, there's relevance still there. And one of the things that I, wanted to mention too is just the relevancy. It's something that is permanent. People still to this day, when it comes to marketing, need to understand that what is online, while it lives on a website, the buzz around that article, that feature, has an 18 to 24 hour lifespan.
Yep.
And, on a print media outlet, whether it's magazine, a newspaper, it's something that is permanent and it's tangible and you will have for years to come. It's not to say that you can't, because people are always saying, but now everything is shifting to digital. I completely disagree with that. There are people who, especially people who have, disposable income, who still, again, like to sit and read
Yep.
a publication. They'll buy a book as opposed to an audiobook. I can't listen to an audiobook without actually having the physical book in front of me.
Really?
Because I do the double whammy. I actually buy it online and listen to it. And as I am listening, I am reading and I am highlighting and turning corners, because that's how I devour, a book. And that's just my learning process. Like, I have to actually physically have it in my hands.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat. But at the end of the day, you have to, again, it goes back to just understanding and best serving who is after what we have to offer and put out.
Well, and as far as the physical magazine, it's always been that advertisements and advertorials is one of the ways, a big way, that revenue is generated for a physical magazine. I don't know if there's another revenue stream for the online venues that you have with Bella TV or the podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a way to monetize all those aspects of the business part of it. Obviously, some people will approach us and say, listen, no, I'm interested in sponsoring this segment and I want to be the one in the video, or I want my logo, right on the bottom, say that, and that it actually will say sponsored by, because people want the marketing and they want the association. The beautiful thing about, obviously partnering with a publication, especially one like ours, is that we really go out of our way to give our customers, a lot of value when they are, buying into a marketing package, or because we want them to obviously get the most out of their investment, as any business owner, wants to receive. But we also do a really good job about integrating that content or integrating the brand very organically, so it doesn't feel like we're selling to you or the brand is selling to you, which is really, important to do. And to wake up to. Like, people need to understand, like, that no longer works. Nobody is going to buy anything because I'm telling you to buy it. They're going to buy it because they know someone who bought it and used it and can actually say, oh yeah, no, it's true. That actually does work, like they're saying that it works. And it's consistency also. Some people, will start a marketing plan, which in whichever form, digitally, in print, and they'll want like a one-hit wonder. It doesn't work that way. If you know anything about marketing, you know that it takes anywhere between 7 and 27 times for a marketing message to actually get drilled into someone's, subconscious, so that they're like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Oh yeah, I think I saw that on TV, or oh, somebody told me about that product, and then they will then actually take action for it.
Right. And not only are you thinking about this for the people who will potentially advertise with you, but you have to be thinking about this for your own company as well.
Correct.
You now have to turn to other outlets, whether it's the Google or the Facebook or wherever, to market to people to come and buy or read Bella Magazine.
Yes.
So you've now become the person on both sides of the equation. It's no longer just trying to get the magazine into the newsstand or into the bookstore. It's a matter of trying to get the eyes to look at Bella Magazine on Facebook and on, you said not Snapchat, so we won't go there.
Nope. We just launched our TikTok channel.
I was just going to say, you guys have had to have done like some sort of a TikTok.
Yeah, we did, but I have to be honest, I was resistant to it just because, but then I also have to,
because we're old, actually. I mean, you're not old. I'm old.
No, but I am of age. I'm 41. I have no shame in my game. But that's just not how I consume content. Like, I don't spend hours watching TikTok videos. But there is a demo that does do that. So in order for us to keep that demo that is within our range engaged with our content, we have to, produce something and do something. But again, it doesn't necessarily mean that, we're all going to, like, all of a sudden now be producing, TikTok videos every day. Like we do them, I believe we're doing them every week or every other week. And they actually are very thought out. We have one of my editors, my fashion and lifestyle correspondent, Jonathan Calixto, who knows the ins and outs. Because I was like, dude, I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
So you need to take
bring like 13-year-olds on
Of course. And he is like the TikTok king. So I'm like, so this is your job. And, you know, we come up with the challenges as a group, as a team, and everybody kind of decides who wants to jump on or who wants to, because at the end of the day too, is what you have to decide. What do you do, right? Like, am I going to use this platform now to continue to push the written content, which does not make any sense whatsoever, because you have to cater to the platform that you are, you know, putting your content out to. So obviously people want to see who the team is. They want to see us in, you know, in different authentic ways. So that's what we've been giving them through that outlet. They'll be able to see us in a completely different light. We all, we did all past covers. That was our first TikTok videos. We all recreated some of our past covers you know, we've been around for almost 11 years. So we have a ton of covers to choose from. So, you know, a couple of us did more than one. So it was really interesting to see how that all came together had it not been for TikTok, and it was wonderful.
That's incredible. Do you think that the current environment, was this something that was part of the marketing plan of 2020 when you built it in 2020?
Not TikTok.
Or is this a result of the time where we were thrusted forward into leveraging all these other different kinds of media? And, you know, I don't know if anyone in 2019 put in the plan, in the marketing plan for 2020, hey, let's be more authentic. You know, but it's really part of every single person's day to day. It was really cute. I mentioned a story on my previous podcast, but one of the weathermen, like his golden retriever kept coming in when he was doing his weather forecast on the news. And there was also a British gentleman who was trying to participate in a very formal business call, and his small child kept coming in. It was, these things are adorable and real. And I don't think it was part of anyone's plan to incorporate this, but
no, I just, and the thing is, I think that it's been a natural response to, you know, what we're living. And had we been responding in a different way, we would be literally tone deaf to the current situation that people are living in, number one. And number two, we would look like complete idiots, because who is realistically, and maybe we'd even get called out on being irresponsible, because, you know, I'm not doing photo shoots. Photo shoots were a part of our weekly, you know, business day-to-day, you know, operations. And we haven't done a photo shoot in almost 3 months, because nobody can go out, no one can be together. And mind you, photo shoots are like one of my favorite aspects of the whole, you know, conglomeration of things that, you know, entail putting an issue together. But, and I'm, you know, I'm having FOMO, like withdrawal, because I haven't been able to do them.
But you know what, how to evolve in these times is maybe all of your photo shoots or selfies or freeze frames of Zoom.
Well, that was really interesting, and it's cool that you're saying that, because I do like a different picture. I typically take a picture for each issue where we shoot our cover, or with who we shoot our cover, just to kind of give it like that personalization and whatnot. And I actually just this morning posted on Facebook a selfie that I took, and my creative director Jessica was like, you know, it's perfect for print. So I was like, it makes absolute, like, I am quarantined, I am home, like, and you know, I did my hair and makeup myself, like, there's no, like, this is the reality of things right now. I can't put like this, you know, photoshopped picture with fat in my hair of myself that, you know, it's just unrealistic. So I wanted people to really be able to just relate, and know that, you know, we're all going through this up and down, because it's like an up and down every day. So we're all going through this, and this is the reality of it.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the shift before in content towards philanthropy and talking about a lot more of what actually a lot of people are talking about. At what point does it become, let's move on to another type of topic so we can sort of get back to normal? I would assume that a lot of your beauty and makeup content might have shifted downward during this time, since, I don't know, you know, I haven't put a stitch of makeup on for today. I did.
Yeah. I was going to say, well, you look great. So you did something.
Thank you. But yeah, I
No.
assume there's been a balance that you're trying to
So
achieve.
something that we have that I actually am just really proud of my team for, and we used to have monthly meetings before all of this happened, and now we're having weekly meetings, which is not something that we used to do. And we're having them via Zoom, and it has turned into kind of like this think tank, right, where we are throwing ideas out there, and everybody's coming together to really in very creative ways, and really forcing us to shift the way that we put content out, what content we're putting out. And it has been just really enlightening. And honestly, one of those moments where you sit back and you're like, my God, like I have a remarkable group of men and women who are part of this team who not only care about what they do, but really, have forward visions as to where we're headed and for the rest of this year.
Right.
And to your point, yes, we were again adapting to what everyone was going through. So instead of report, because we're not a hard news outlet, you'll never go on the website to see statistics of coronaviruses. You'll never see that. But what you will see is things to do while in quarantine, workouts that you can do while being at home, quick recipes that you can take advantage of, because I think we're all getting sick of eating and cooking the same thing. So it's interesting to hear from other people who are obviously doing it as well. A playlist that you may want to listen to, books,
right. Are you
podcasts.
finding also new revenue opportunities in exactly that?
Well,
like
our digital platform obviously has just increased.
Home recipe sponsored by Kraft,
Yeah.
or like how's that?
Correct. And that's another way for us to integrate. But the reality is that every business that you talk to, with very few exceptions, are in the same boat where they're just kind of like on hold and stuck. Yeah. So as we need to continue to do the right thing for our readers, and it's just continue to give them the best content out there possible. But just yesterday, I was having a conversation with my publisher, Jennifer DeSillis, that I was like, okay, so now it's time to pivot a little bit, because I don't want every featured image on our homepage to be someone wearing a mask. Like, at what point do we begin to slowly shift because at the end of the day, we're going to get through this. And I would like to think that we are in a place right now where we're thinking ahead, not still stuck in the rut. I think, and I honestly think people are done. People are over this. People are ready to get back to living their lives with a lot of precaution, obviously. But, we're looking to the future now, which is great, because I think it says a lot of where we are at as a whole, thinking ahead, where, my husband and I were talking last week about, okay, so when this is over, where are we going to, vacation? We're like, all right, because that had halted.
And that's very healthy. That's extremely healthy.
100%.
About a year from now, or 6 months from now, or even 3 months from now. Or
it's not to say that you can't find really delicious cocktail recipes, because you will. Everybody kind of chimed in, like, this is what I'm drinking every Friday. So it was really cool to hear from everyone from that perspective. But again, at some point you have to begin to shift, the news, because it doesn't serve anyone to continue to report on just the same, and it doesn't serve us as a publication. There's so many amazing companies and brands and people who are doing just remarkable things because of what has happened. It has forced them to, we actually just had featured in this issue a construction company that completely shift. I mean, you go from construction to making masks. I felt like that was something that was really important to highlight, because it's not every day that you hear a construction company, completely shifting their operation to doing something that is of service. But now, the owner and I, she's going to come on to our podcast next week. We're talking, and she was like, I'm ready for Botox and hair and makeup and go back to my gym. Like, I'm done. Like, this, this was all cute until now, but now I'm ready to get back
I find it interesting to see how people who once thought that they were very low maintenance type people really are seeing how high maintenance they really are. Like the manicures.
I used to boast that I was not a diva. Oh, girl. oh shoot, who is doing my nails? My one thing is my nails. And I'm not into hair extensions only when I need them. Like I'm not, at least I like to think I'm not that diva-ish, but I was reminded that I do like to go, get my feet rubbed and get my nails done and get my monthly massage in. Like
I
I
didn't
miss,
even realize how
yeah.
high maintenance you are. That's exactly it.
There you
But
go.
your nails look great, and I'm sure you can.
Well, because I did them myself, and listen. I think we've all slowly surprised each other, and ourselves at just just how capable we are of doing so many things for ourselves that we didn't even think.
Yes,
So,
but keeping that in perspective, we talk about doing our own nails, and other people are also thinking about, how am I going to put food on the table?
100%.
We haven't gotten our, PPP, or the unemployment's not coming through, the stimulus check hasn't hit. So, bringing it back home to the reality
100%.
of the majority of people.
And that has been something that has
very
been
humbling.
Very prevalent to us, because at the end of the day, like we're not, just like I mentioned before, because we're not a hard news publication, if anything, we've served as a source of entertainment. Yep. And just, I don't want to call it fluff, because everyone who has, who contributes to Bella is an expert in their own field. So again, we're really proud of the people that we continue to highlight and who have given us advice. We had a panel of mental health experts come on probably right at the beginning when this all started, because we were getting questions of, how am I going to get through this day? How am I going to deal with the fact that I don't have, I literally just lost my entire income. I can't pay my rent. I can't buy food. So in a way, we've been, responding to those requests, but also humbling, as you said, extremely humbling, extremely grateful, because at the end of the day, if the only thing I have to be worried about is who's going to do my nails, like that those are not problems,
right. That's true.
For sure.
But you know what, you are doing your best to take care of your readers and to satisfy them in terms of, comfort and the things that you've normally provided, even above and beyond, like you said, with the mental health person. How's it going now that you are in charge, you're at the helm? How many people were on staff before this happened? How many people are on staff now? And what are you going to do in terms of, office?
So the team is still the same. And if anything, the team has
a large
really
number of people?
grown. We have 34 people on staff. It's been incredibly, it literally will bring you to your knees to have a meeting with a group of people and just say, listen, we are here and we're willing to move forward with you, however, which way we can make this happen.
Right.
I've lost, and I've been very vocal about this, we've lost business. I'm not gonna like that. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh no, we're fine. Oh yeah, no, we're not. However, we're not in a dire, destitute situation as a business that we can't continue to move forward. But
how do you think you mitigated that risk? Was there something that you can point to that sort of helped you or shielded you?
I'm a woman of faith, and I hope that's okay to say this here. And I wholeheartedly believe that and I say we because I don't consider Bella me. I consider Bella, my team and my amazing group of people who make it happen. I believe we're here to be of service, to help men and women live better lives. And again, giving them resources that don't just have to do with makeup tips and whatnot. When our articles and our doctors who are giving advice are vetted professionals, again, and it's a free resource that you can just access online if you're still looking for how to cope and deal, or how to make your own mask. Yep. Those are all things that you can find on our website. But I'm not gonna lie to you, probably the second or third week into all of this, when all I kept getting was bad news from clients who were dropping out, or this is happening, or so many people are dying, I had a moment where I was like, okay, is this even worth keeping going? And I kind of had this coming to Jesus moment where it was like, oh my God, what am I saying? Am I actually uttering those words? I am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. But in my gut, as I'm having these conversations with myself, in my gut, the conversation was, you have to keep going. You have to keep moving forward. This is not, and I have always said, like, I refuse to go down without a fight. And I'm having that initial meeting with my team where everyone was, just as encouraging to keep moving forward, to keep pushing.
Sure.
Just also
what at Bella allowed you to continue making, the payroll and giving them, because
well, I have clients who were still on board, and you have a responsibility to continue to provide them the service that they paid for.
Paid
for.
Okay,
yeah,
so previous receipts.
Yeah. So of course, and and there were very tough conversations that I had to have with several clients who had been with us for years, because they weren't in a position to move forward, and I couldn't, hold them to it, because everybody has been hit by this. This is not just something that they just, came up with. Like, this is not an excuse. This is a reality that has affected everyone dramatically. But again, some way, somehow, we have only produced better work from this whole entire situation. So again, I always try to, I'm a hopeless optimist. And I believe that, this is happening to all of us for, a better reason. And we're going to get through this. And once this is all over, it's only going to get better for all of us. That's how I feel. I think that we've been forced to look at daily operations, what's necessary, what isn't necessary. I would spend, like frivolous money on marketing material that I'm sure you can relate at some point, let me design the business card this way and see how it looks. And when you start doing the math about, what's truly necessary, and I got the question many times, are you going to continue to be in print? And I said, I have clients who paid me for a print issue. Yes. So what we did was had to shift how we made that happen. I found another printer who was willing to work with us.
Yep, that was what I was going to ask you about, your supply chain for getting the magazine.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to, and I'm actually really, really happy, believe it or not, because this is, again, everything happens for a reason. I had been struggling with the idea of, getting this, just getting the copies printed from, the specific printer, because believe it or not, they were based out of Ohio, and there was a delay in printing and whatnot. And this forced me to look for somebody else, and we did. And when I am so incredibly impressed with the quality of the publication now, it's actually better. It looks nicer. And, it's costing me more to print now because it is what it is.
Right.
But once we're back to normal, because I don't think we're ever going to be back to normal. There's no new normal. This is, we're going to be completely different. That's what I believe. I'm actually happy that we found an even better product because of it.
Yes.
So, I have to look at that side of the pendulum, as opposed to, I going to print or not?
And I'm sure your employees have been coming forward with new skill sets that they either had or they weren't showing.
I think the most humbling part of it is just their willingness to do whatever it takes.
That's great.
And you can't buy that. You can't, you can't promote that. People need to have that within them. And have to want to do it. Like, you can't force people to do anything. They have to want to. And my team has just been incredible. And I'm so grateful for all of them.
So I'm sure everyone's working from home at this point in your team. Did you have to set them up? Did you have to put together?
So here's the really fascinating part of that, because I've gotten this question a lot over the past 2 months. My entire team has always worked remotely. It's only been maybe 2 or 3 of us that actually go into the office. So for us, this is like, we've been doing this for years. So it has never not been, the only difference is obviously in the beginning was getting used to the whole Zoom, because, we're seeing each other, but we're not in front of each other. We're not really in person. And that's one of the things that I miss the most is when we did have our weekly meetings in the office. You know, it was, you got face to face with people, you got to have a coffee with them and see them. Those are the things that I'm missing. But for the most part, we've been operating remotely for, you know, almost 11 years. So this is not news. Yeah.
You know what, with the Zoom, you just touched on the fact that you like the meeting, but you like seeing people and more often in this. You and I actually haven't seen each other in years.
In years.
And connecting on Zoom is, you know, like, it's so good to see you.
100%. No,
so many
for sure.
people are connecting now face to face, sort of face to face. Where years before, or I'm sorry, like even pre-pandemic, they may not have seen each other in years, because getting together physically and in person is a lot more cumbersome, a lot more scheduling, maybe even a little.
And I hope that we don't go back to, like, I've made phone calls that I had been promising to make for a long time. I have, you know, to people that I'm like, yeah, we need to catch up. I've actually made it a point to do those things through because I can't say that I don't have the time to speak to anyone right now. And, you know, while, believe it or not, we have been busier, like my core staff has been busier because now we've been obviously forced to produce even more online content to maintain the demand. But I have found the time to reconnect with old friends, with old family members, reconnect with myself. I've been really making it a point to take extra care of myself, because if I'm not okay, no one in this household will be okay. So trust me, the crazy will come out, and that's not good for anybody. So yeah,
that's too much.
Yeah.
So as far as anything that you've learned since you've started the whole, you know, quarantine at home, what's your new skill? I know that you're now a professional TikToker.
Actually, I hate to admit it. But I'm actually a really good cook. I hated it before. Now I'm kind of enjoying it because it's turned into something relaxing and something that I look forward to as a way to just bring my family together. You know, we when was the last time we all sat, you know, for regular dinners? That didn't happen. It didn't happen for a very long time. So, you know, my husband and I have been very mindful of making those moments count with our kids, because he works even more than I do. So the fact that he's actually able to come home earlier, he is on the front, you know, he's an essential worker, so he's out every single day. In the beginning, it made my stomach turn, because obviously that worry is always there. And my kids in the beginning were not taking it as well, but we've come to, you know, this rhythm of, I also make him, you know, disinfect before he comes into the house. He's got like a process himself that he has to do before he's allowed into the house. So, but yeah, I mean, cooking has been one of them. My resilience as far as, you know, working out, I've actually am really proud. I've been 8 weeks strong, you know, working out from Monday through Saturday and giving myself Sunday to rest, which, you know, you would have asked me pre-pandemic, I would have been like, yeah, I'll get started next Monday, and always found, you know, another excuse to not do it. Right. But it's good for my mental health. You know, it allows me to, and also to just spend, I'm one of those people that needs to be alone. Occasionally, I need a couple of hours to myself to kind of reset. Okay. And those hours in the morning are just like my morning ritual. They are incredibly important, and it's what helps me get through the day. You know, like I told you, if I didn't work out, if I didn't do exercise every morning, at least for half an hour, I probably would not be looking as calm and collected as I do right now.
This is calm.
Well, today was my yoga day. So I did yoga, you know, so namaste to everybody. So it's, yeah, I definitely, yeah. So I'm okay right now.
Okay. So I know also that you and Lynette are responsible for a women's organization.
Yes.
How are you managing that? That's built upon trying to support women entrepreneurs and
and building community. It's been really interesting to see how
have they been more high maintenance than
I have to say, well, I think everybody's high maintenance. But I have to say that like right in the beginning, I think people were, and I mean the women in the community were as much as, in shock as everyone else. I think everybody was just really scared and terrified of what the future held for each of them, especially when you have, when your livelihood depends on a business that isn't necessarily essential and that people are, buying from you and whatnot. And like, what do you do now? Right. So, but what has been interesting to see from all of them, and Lynette and I actually spoke about this a few weeks ago, was that people who we have been encouraging to finally get online are now online. So because they now understand that they have to be, and that they were getting left behind because they weren't, and some of the women who were afraid to turn on that record button on their cell phone are literally doing lives every single day. And it's really rewarding to see how much people have had to be, I never like to see growth being forced upon anyone, but because at the end of the day, growth is a choice, right? You decide and you choose when you are, want to move on to the next level.
Thrusted
but we've been catapulted, like we've been hurled into it. And I have to,
because this is all in the making, but maybe 20 years, 10 years from now, but this has been the catalyst that
100%. So it's been really, I'll sit here and I'll scroll through, the feed, and I'll sit here with a smile because I'm like, oh my God, finally, oh my God. And they'll private message me and they'll say, you've only been telling me to blog for 20 years, and I'm like, yeah, pretty much. And they're finally doing it. So
I a good outlet. Some people turn inward during times of trouble, and some people turn outward. And for the ones that have gotten over the hurdle of self-confidence, of lack of self-confidence, I should say, it is therapeutic and good. And one of the things that I've seen is a lot of mom businesses or women businesses have been built from inside the house. They've
100%.
They've done stuff in their kitchen or their back office and home office, and they've started to sell their products way back online on Etsy, on their website, and with some of their spouses losing their job, losing the corporate job, or not getting work, in construction, because it's not, I think we're loosening the regulations now, but not being able to continue their work. It's been the women now that are the taking care of the household and being the breadwinners for the moment, because they were set up with the infrastructure, the home-based business, whether it was making cookies or whether it was making knickknacks. They've been doing that online, which is really how we are right now.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I was speaking to, we have a lot of network marketing, just business owners within the community. And it's to me, data fascinates me when you think about, where you and I may be, but then another group of people is actually thriving and doing really well. There has been a rise of network marketing businesses, because people finally also have realized that, it is necessary to have another source of income. And I can see how, our members have told us, well, I have, 3 more new members that joined my team because they realize now that they need to do something else. But to your point, it's why I also haven't, but, I believe I haven't let this kind of, completely dwindle me into, non-existence, is because I've been doing this for 11 years. And this is what entrepreneurship has always looked like for me, because I started my first business from home with a kid in, one hip. And when I had the second one with the other one, dragging my leg, like we are, and when I say we moms, we're built of this, just this material that is really incomparable, when it comes to our resilience, right? We're used to doing this. We've faced this before. And I actually spoke to several mental health professionals who, when I told them this comparison, they were like, you hit the nail on the head. And I was like, oh, see, I wasn't crazy. This has been compared to, and I don't know if you felt it, but I know, because I suffered from postpartum depression with my first son, that isolation that you feel when you've been home with a baby every single day by yourself, that you start talking to the walls, or you start talking to yourself, that feeling of you're going out of your mind. And I compare that to, you know, what we are, the cabin fever that we're all experiencing, whatnot. And the one thing I will say to that point is, you know, whenever you now encounter after this madness, a new mom, or you know, a new mom again, have some compassion and understand, like, this is that chatter that's in their mind of they're going crazy. And I found myself just kind of regressing to that feeling and understanding, oh my God, lived this, got through it twice, we're good, you know, like, so I found myself kind of keeping.
And everyone that was your struggle, that was your personal struggle for sure, but everyone could potentially have a struggle that, you know, you don't know about. So I think
100%.
compassion and empathy and all of that is just a good general rule when talking to someone, especially, you know, at this time when everything is just flaring up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, one of the Jerry Vigiani, who is part of the group too, talked about this as collective trauma. And I think when you begin to see it in that way, when you begin to understand, like, it's not just you, it's also everybody, you know, it's also my neighbor, it's also my friend in California, it's also my brother in Florida, my mom in the Dominican Republic, like, we're all going. So when we talk to each other, we're able to talk to each other from that place of compassion and empathy, like you mentioned, because again, we're just as affected as they may be. And I think the fascinating, and I don't mean fascinating as, oh my God, this is so cool, but what has been interesting to see is that we've experienced it at different times, like at different inflection points, because like my country, Dominican Republic, is 2 weeks behind where we are. So I've been trying to kind of, you know, dissect the news and give them as much information as possible from what we've been living, because I know that those restrictions are coming, or those, you know, things may be coming down the line. So it's been interesting to see how people kind of rely on, you know, on me to give them like an update. And I'm like, no, there's no vaccine yet, or whatever the case may be. But it's just been interesting to see how we're living the day to day, but we're being affected differently by all of this.
Right. And you're showing them how to endure it and how to, you know, get along.
God, I hope, girl, because
but you know what, I think we owe that not only to our family who it hasn't hit yet, but it hasn't hit them yet, but I think we owe that to our children to be a good role model for, here's how we persevere. Here's how we don't let this, you know, get us.
Here's how we respond to stress. Here's how we respond to loss. Here's how we respond to, you know, the entire world kind of collapsing to a certain extent. And
this is how, totally unprecedented.
And this is how we get through it. You know, I had a very close family member pass away probably 2 weeks into this, and it was a very difficult decision to have to sit there and be like, okay, well, I can't get on a plane right now and go because I can't be with them. And but that conversation in your head where you begin like, oh my God, is this how we are going to be doing things right now? And I'm like, and then I'm like telling my friend, please don't die, like, please just don't. And you know, you want to just not think of having to endure the pain in that way, because all you want to do is be with family, and and that's not something that you're able to do right now. So
and everyone sees this from their own eyes.
Correct.
I'm seeing this, like, I have this saying, why am I me and why are you you?
Yeah.
It's really profound to think I'm viewing this whole reality through my own lens, and you are as well. Correct. And to step into my son's shoes, for example, he was at Penn State. Now, of course, he finished his last semester home. And my daughter was in high school, same thing. She finished her last half of the year, or finishing, from her room. And then you have the seniors and the proms, and people who may have lost a loved one might be looking at the seniors saying, you know, stop crying over that you're not going to have a graduation ceremony. But to the seniors, they're like, this is a life event that I worked hard for.
100%.
And this is devastating to me. And I know it's devastating to you. So I guess we kind of also have to have respect for everyone's personal lens. You know, where they're seeing life at their perspective. So parents may
100%.
actually say to their kids, stop your bitching and complaining,
Yeah.
life is good for you. I give you food and shelter and, that.
Yeah.
But then,
Well, I mean, and then you have a little one like mine who is like, I'm bored, I have nothing to do. And I'm like, well, we kind of pick and choose the activities right now because there's only so much.
right.
I'm like, go find something to do. So I listen, at the end of the day, that saying that goes, perception is reality. We all have to really, continue to see, we're going to continue to see life and this whole situation as we best know how.
Yep.
And, I just like to think that, and I've said this before, this will continue to reveal who we are as people, as families, as communities,
yes.
as businesses.
Such a good way to phrase it.
Yeah.
The revealing who you are at this time.
Yeah. And it has forced, I think, people to take stock of, what they were doing before versus what they're doing now.
Yep.
And the things that actually matter and that are important. And, that's how I continue to trek forward. And,
right.
I incredibly, when it comes to personal relationships, I think that they've only gotten stronger. It's not to say that people who were like a constant toxicity haven't just dwindle away, because I think they're so invested in their own, drama that's happening right now. So I feel like a sense of relief in that sense also, that, it's no longer people that you kind of have to deal with or because of business or whatnot. So it's been a fascinating, balancing act of many things.
Yep.
But we're here, we're moving forward.
Good. So you guys
excited for the future. So, and there's things cooking that I still can't announce, but there have been. It's remarkable, to be honest, because I was having this conversation yesterday with someone where you would think, when I told you that first 2-week conversation that I had with myself, like, is this worth it? Literally maybe 2 weeks later, an opportunity presented itself through someone, an ETT woman who connected me to someone. And it turned into something that I had been wanting to do with Bella for a while. And now it's going to finally come to fruition. And it's huge. And I am excited for everyone, because it's just going to be amazing.
That's
so
great.
Yeah,
That's great.
I have that to look forward to. Yeah.
One more question.
Sure.
Some of the celebrities that you have lined up for, 2020, I'm sure you have a calendar. I'm sure that they know, that they're on your calendar pre-pandemic. Have they been willing to participate in any of the other venues, as opposed to just a cover shoot and a story? Have they been willing to be on Bella TV and a podcast and, their authentic self, and kind of like broaden their relationship with you in that sense to keep going? Because I'm sure you still want celebrity voices, which help carry the magazine.
And yes and no. And it's really, and I'm going to be brutally honest about this topic, because I don't sugarcoat. And if you know anything about me, like, if you're going to ask me a question, I'm going to answer it truthfully. It's been actually very interesting. I've had people that we've worked with in the
Remembering
past.
That you said that people do reveal themselves.
And this is the moment where you realize, that celebrity is a label that people take to heart, in the sense that they really, that's all they have to offer, which is honestly sad and unfortunate, because at the end of the day, we are all people, and the regular people are the ones who got you to that status.
Right.
So to twofold. Yes, because we've reached out to people who we've worked with in the past who have been extremely supportive, are even on board to, share this issue because it benefits the Staten Island University Hospital. Like, they've been really responsive. They've been actually back as podcast guests. But then I've had people that have reached out for a feature, and then when you say, okay, can you also help us, because right now, and they're like, yeah, no, we're just trying to maximize our exposure. So, okay. yeah, you know, that always
So
leaves
much
me
for
with a,
we're all in this together type thing. Yeah.
well, that has always left me with a bad taste in my mouth. And at the end of the day, I always want to highlight people who are just kind. Like, just be nice. You have to do it for me, do it for your followers, do it for your
Right.
fans. But it, you know, it 9 times out of 10, if that's your response, you probably will never work with us again.
Mm,
Just because I believe in just you know, walking my talk. And I think that you know, we're all allowed to make mistakes, but then when it gets to the point where you're only doing this because it benefits you, then that's not cool.
right. Right.
So
Keeping that in mind, they are a
yeah,
celebrity, and I'm sure you're probably the 40th phone call that they've had today.
yeah.
Like, hey, would you mind sharing this? Hey, would you mind sharing
Well,
that?
and the thing is, everybody ultimately, it's interesting there because there's different levels of fame and whatnot, and everybody thinks that they are big and they want to cover and they want the feature and they want, you know, and it's not to say that we don't. I just, we started to do issues by themes. Every issue has a theme, so the celebrity that's on the cover will actually fit that theme. And it honestly depends on your accolades through your career. You know, we had Mel Robbins at the beginning of the year, who's the queen of reinvention, and it was the reinvention issue. So who better? And I had actually pitched Brene Brown also, but she was, you know, Mel was my first choice, and Brene was my second, and Mel said yes, and it has been, I mean, it's the first issue that Bella has ever sold out of, and we sold out of every
Wow, that's
single
great.
issue. So that was a really, really huge compliment. But it also says a lot of the content that's in the publication, you know,
Yep.
and that we are there to provide a service, and
Yeah.
it's, you know, resources for men and women to live their
Who
best
have been
lives.
some of the celebrities that have been very receptive to continuing to support Bella,
Um,
sure that you guys thrive? Because so many businesses and small businesses, big businesses are going under, and we're all saying shop local and order from your restaurants and support. So who actually has stepped up to
our
show
New
support?
York, our New York base, because I feel like they're always doing they're also doing you know, very hyper local, like Nicole Miller has immediately jumped on board, and how can we help, how can we, she jumped on a podcast with us.
That's great.
She herself has done a tremendous amount of just philanthropic work throughout this all. She started to make masks herself. Like, she's like, I went to my shop, picked up a sewing machine, came home with it, and started making masks to just
That's
hand
right.
out to people on the street, which was amazing. And this, she doesn't need to do that, but she did. But it was interesting for us to go back to her, and also Mark Bauer, who's another just acclaimed designer. To go back to them to talk about, you know, the changes that they see coming up in the fashion industry. And no, ladies, for those of you who may be watching, that masks will now be an accessory that you will wear just like you would grab a handbag. It's actually going to become a part of your day-to-day attire.
Right.
So it's been, you know, it was interesting to hear it from people who have fashion visions, and I'm already like in my head, okay, so who, which prints am I going to order or get so that I'm able to like match, you know, the outfits too. But they have been, we've been in conversations with even our future cover that I can't disclose, but she's coming onto a podcast with us soon for our Hamptons event, which is a big
The
event
white
every
party, or is
year.
that what that's called?
The what? I'm sorry?
Is it the white party,
The
the
white party,
annual
yes.
white party?
The annual white party. And, you
Is
know,
that
this,
obviously canceled or not
it's
canceled yet?
actually not. It's actually not.
When is
If
that slated for?
it's August 1st, and it will actually be my 1 year anniversary. So I'm looking very forward to that. But if it doesn't happen in the size that we had intended it to, we probably will still do it, but smaller, which is still okay.
Right.
And that's where we're at with that. But you know, the interest of many people, because I don't want to not, you know, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or put people in the fire, but just speak to the fact that, you know, some people have been very open, some people have not, and that's okay. You know, we
Right.
just go with the ones that continue to support us and help us. And
Yes.
yeah.
And those build themselves.
Of course, of course.
Are you guys feeling any pressure as a company to be giving away free subscriptions? I know that it's hard for businesses right now to have permission to continue selling their goods and services. And you guys do sell a subscription. You sell a tangible magazine. Are your other Bella TV?
If I tell you that our subscription rate has actually increased.
Probably because people are more at home, and
I was actually very pleasantly surprised when I had that coming to Jesus moment that I talked to you about many times before. The next day I woke up to an incredible amount of like annual subscriptions, and I think I saw it as a sign and an answer to, you're not going anywhere. So it was really rewarding to wake up to that and know that people obviously still realize that we have a place in this media world. I'm sorry?
What do you attribute that to? The increased number of
I think that people are, still finally, this or looking to us for some sort of guidance, some sort of inspiration, because we're chock full of nuts on our site and in the issue of just women that you can relate to and connect with and do business with. And again, I think the interest of people really keeping themselves informed and doing things that they probably didn't have time to do before, which is, sit down and snuggle up with a great book or a great magazine. But again, I was, that was a response to me to the behavior that we're all in. And I saw that as, okay, then we need to keep moving forward. We need to keep putting even better content out there, reaching out to, a different set of celebrity and a different type of celebrity that is just, genuine and authentic, which is what we were doing from the moment that I took over in August. But not that it wasn't like that before, but I just, it's no longer just about the fashion and the beauty. It's really about living a life, a full life, which is what we all want at the end of the day.
I need to put in a request that you have John Krasinski.
Oh my God. So just so you know, I already reached out to their team. And I did, because what he's doing is actually something.
I just got the chills.
Yeah, we knew he was cute before. Now we know he's even cute. He's even cuter now. And I did put in a request. I believe it's because what happens is when somebody takes off the way that they did, and I know that is because that was their response from their team, was like the amount of requests has been enormous for them. So I don't take offense, John, if you ever watch this, it's okay. We'll get you someday, somehow. And I also reached out to Leslie Nielsen the other day, because I too, I love him. He's so funny. And his PR team got back to us and said, oh my God, we've been so bombarded by outlets who want to interview and do whatnot. So we also realize that, so again, celebrities are people too, and they have priorities, and they're probably doing things that they were never doing before. During all of this. So I get it.
That's good though. It's good. Good that you no longer have to always go through the agent and then the sub-agent and the assistance agent and all that stuff to get to people. They've been so barricaded. Now they've kind of loosened and opened themselves up, even regular people.
Well, and I also think that they've realized that, that all those gatekeepers really don't do them service. Like, it's just a disservice to the ultimate end message that they want to, that they want to put out. It's really fascinating to see like all those facets of this world, how all of that comes together. You work with really, really amazing teams, and then you work with people that you're like, my God, how does this person even have a job? Like, it's just really interesting just to see how people just respond to you in different ways. Some people are delighted. I spoke to someone last week who has an incredible following online. And she was, I'm actually humbled and grateful. Like nobody wanted to talk to me, because I don't know if you're aware that we're launching a Latina version of Bella that was slated to launch in June of this year. But she's very known in the Latina community, and she was like, I'm grateful that somebody in the Latina community reached out, because it has been a while that someone in the Latina community has reached out to speak to me. So I felt really awesome about, doing that, because now she's going to be providing, a source of inspiration and resources for women too. So yeah.
That's great.
That's great. A little bit of everything. I can tell you that much for sure. Yeah.
Listen, a lot of good has come out of this.
100%.
A lot of
And
trepidation.
the good always outweighs the bad. I can't sit here and tell you.
Good has to win. Good has to win. Yeah.
Yeah. And I always try to keep everything in perspective. And, we've been making it a point, even as a company and as a family, to take it one day at a time. And, I keep telling my kids, you don't know, tomorrow we may wake up and we'll read on the news that it's okay to go outside. So, we just have to keep it going.
That being said, do you have like some inner sadness when that happens? Like just between you and me and the rest of the world, is there some sense of, I really, really have enjoyed, thank goodness we've been shielded from sickness, but, and I've really enjoyed the family time, the quality time, the way that the company has come together, the world has come together. And when things start to loosen up, is there some like unsettling sadness?
Here and again, I'm gonna give it to you like I'm feeling it. Because I have always been very invested with my family. Like we have always, I've always been a homebody. My kids and I, although under normal circumstances, which is what I always tell my mother, because my mom thinks I go out every night. I'm like, yeah, no, those events happen occasionally. It doesn't happen. And sometimes I post a picture later, because that's just when I could get to it. I spend a lot of time with my kids and my family. So I am definitely ready for them to go back to structure for them, not for me, for them, because my kids, especially my little one, thrives on structure. He likes to go to school. He's missing school like you have no idea. Right. My oldest one could care less. This situation is like, he's like living the dream right now. I will be surprised if we don't keep this community sense going with my team, because I think that we have found a lot of reciprocity with each other on a personal level. And that's where I think that teams really become even more powerful, when you break down those barriers of, that's the boss, or this is the supervisor, or you're under. Right. I think that when we begin to see each other as people, and that this person is struggling and can't make this meeting this week because they're having a really bad day, I'm not going to ever hold that against them. It's like, I understand, I get it. Yeah. And then you have the upside, where every week I will get messages right after saying how, oh my God, please don't stop doing this. This has been my saving grace every week, because we start the meetings with music, we start dancing, then we pray together, and then we get to business. And I would have never probably done that had we been under normal circumstances. But, and I asked them, I said, is it weird if I pray? Everybody was like, no, please pray, and pray a lot, do it. But it's just been really rewarding to see that the response has been very positive. So it would be sad if we don't keep that going. Yeah. But I don't think that we'll stop it, just because it's become like ingrained in all of us. And we can always do it virtually, so nobody has to like trek to New York if we're going to have a meeting. But that's been really, really rewarding.
That's great. I hope you guys do keep it going.
But I am ready for my kids to do something. If there's days where I'm like, whoa, yeah. It's been a minute. Jess, I'm ready for them to go back to school.
If I look into recycle, am I going to find an enormous amount of wine bottles in that recycle bucket?
Actually, believe it or not, I am a very light drinker. I have had my a glass here and there more than usual, but no, I actually, because I'm such a lightweight, like I can't take it. I'll get a headache. And yeah, I'm no fun. I'm no fun.
Well, listen, you know what? I actually listened to a couple of the podcasts, the Bella podcast, and I think the most recent was a 2-part series on topic
Oh my
being
God.
sex.
Yes.
And again, it's refreshing to hear,
Yeah.
the owner / editor-in-chief talk about sex and talk about life and be, back to that word,
Yeah.
authentic and real and
I'm so glad that you brought that up because, and I think it's something that we broke down in that podcast where we have like this hush hush, taboo kind of veil over intimacy and sexuality. And I think it's like so, it creates such like a hindrance for your own development as a woman and then as with your couple that, I have no problem saying, I'm not going to get into it because this is not that kind of show, but I have no problem talking to, because I have I have a healthy, I am sexy, hello. I have a healthy, sexual relationship with and there's nothing wrong with that,
Right.
I actually was proud of myself because when she said it's like the normal was once a week, I'm like, oh my God, I'm good, we're good, this is all good. So but yeah, we brought you two vetted and amazing professionals in that field, women who work with anywhere from women who are recovering from cancer and how they're exploring their bodies again. And it's health, it's self-care, and you need to know yourself. So what better way to do that in a fun way than how we did? And
yeah, I think I learned that orgasms increase your immunity. So.
Exactly. And that it was, and we left that podcast saying, so go have sex, especially
exactly.
now.
I think I'm going to skip
a lot of it.
Vitamin C and go straight to the other.
That was hysterical. Yeah.
Very, very cute.
Yeah.
Well, it was entertaining and informative, and I'm glad that you guys are doing that, and everyone should go take a look at, what's the name of the podcast?
It's called Real Talk with Bella, and we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Spotify, Google we're everywhere, and we're going to be on iHeartRadio next week, I believe. So yeah, we're everywhere. Yeah.
And Bella TV, and is that on YouTube or Facebook?
Bella TV is on YouTube and also on IGTV, and you can also find Facebook Watch. We're everywhere except Snapchat.
But there's definitely a lot of clutter to have to get through when you sign on to Facebook, between the ads and the other content and this and that. So I could actually see why people would want to subscribe to the paper version of the magazine.
Yeah.
You are now nested in your Bella environment and you're reading it, and there's no other clutter around. So it is definitely a different sort of an activity, calming, and you're still surrounded by all the curated content that you get.
100%. Yeah.
I can totally see. But yeah, so thank you so much for being with me today, and enjoy the rest of your day. What's your plan?
Thank you for having me. I have work and children and then dinner.
What's for dinner? Anything?
I'm actually making Dominican food today because my husband requested it. I'm making fried chicken, rice and beans, and a nice salad on the side. Yes.
Oh, that sounds so good.
It sounds so good, but you can't have that every day. And he loves it so much that he wants to have it every day. And then I find myself, eating too much. So that morning workout has to go, more intense because I ate rice and beans the night before. So, but yeah, I'm making a Dominican meal, which my kids hate, but I force them to eat it.
Oh my gosh, how could they even? Fried chicken? Like, what is it?
Oh my God. They'll eat the chicken and it's like a little bit of white rice and a little bit of beans. So. But I'm like, yeah, you can't say that you're half Dominican if you don't eat this food. So sorry.
Right. You don't have the privilege.
Well, really, thank you so much. This has been a ton of fun, and I hope that everyone can take something away from what I said, and I hope that it serves them as.
Yes. We hope that you guys keep putting out great content and thriving, and you're doing a great job as owner and editor-in-chief, and keep those 35 people employed and working.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jess.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.